name is Kevin Fernandez and welcome to my channel, Gamers Genie. Today we're going to learn how to play the natural tile placement game, Cascadia. This 1 to 4 player game designed by Randy Flynn and published by Flatout games. In this game you are trying to place out wildlife and also grow more tile by placing more tiles and getting your terrain more expansive. You also have to complete certain patterns as well. But watch out, some of your animals do not like to be near each other, even if it's their own kind. Will you be successful? And to keep the drama to a minimum, find out as we go to the table and learn how to play Cascadia. Place all the wildlife tokens into the cloth bag and shake well. Determine how many habitat tiles you will need based on the number of players. Randomly select these tiles. Do not look at the tiles you include or exclude. If you're playing a 2-player game, 43, a 3-player game, 63, a 4-player game, 83. So, since we're going to be playing a 2-player game, we're going to need 43. And then all the rest will stay in the box. And they will not be used in this game. Randomly select 1 wildlife scoring card for each of the 5 wildlife. Then place all 5 in the center of the play area within easy view of all players. Put the other wildlife scoring cards back in the box. For your first game, I recommend using these scoring cards right here, which you can tell which ones they are because they're marked with a little letter A in the bottom right corner. These are mostly for people who are new to the game. Randomly distribute 1 habitat starter tile to each player. You would start it by placing them face down in front of them. Place the others back into the box. They will not be used for this game. Reveal the 4, or in this case, since it's a 2-player game, 2 habitat tiles. 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4 habitat tiles from the face down stack and place them face up in the center of the play area within easy reach of all players. Then draw 4 wildlife tokens from the cloth bag. And pair them in order with each of the 4 habitat tiles to form 4 combinations of 1 tile and 1 token. You place the rest of the tokens within easy reach of all players, and I think I'll put that down here as well. The player who most recently saw one of the wildlife in the game will be the first player. Or you could select randomly. And that completes the setup. At the beginning of each turn, there will be 4 habitat tiles and 4 wildlife tokens. In the center of the play area, the habitat tiles and wildlife tokens will be arranged in 4 distinct combinations, each with 1 habitat and 1 wildlife, providing 4 choices. Before you make a selection, check to see if any of the wildlife are overpopulated. If all 4 of the available wildlife tokens are the same, they are automatically wiped. So for example, instead of having the salmon, the eagle, and the hawk and the fox with the bear, if they were all 4 of them were bears, then they're wiped. But because they're overpopulated. But we have a nice variety and nice selection, so we're good. Take all 4 of the tokens and place them aside. Then one at a time, draw 4 new tokens from the cloth bag and pair each one in order with the 4 habitat tiles. Note, This could happen multiple times on any given player's turn. So it's not an uncommon thing. If 3 of the wildlife tokens are the same, then the active player may choose to wipe these tokens if they wish. Take only those 3 tokens and place them aside. Then, one at a time, draw 3 new tokens from the cloth bag and pair each one in order with a habitat tile. Note, you may only do this once per turn. Once all over populations have been resolved, place any wiped tokens back into the cloth bag. You will now select 1 habitat tile plus a wildlife token combination. Typically, you must take an existing combination. However, before you do, you may optionally spend a nature token to do one of the following. Number 1, take any one of the 4 habitat tiles and any one of the 4 wildlife tokens. So traditionally, I would take this salmon and this tile right here, this hawk and this tile, this elk and this tile, or this bear and this tile. But if I spend a nature token, I can actually take like this and this instead. And that'll be perfectly fine. Or any combination I want, but only when I spend a nature token. Or number 2 is you can wipe any number of wildlife tokens and replace them. So if there's no wildlife tokens that you don't like, you could spend your nature token. Like Jordan doesn't really like this elk, so she spends it. She draws a new one, places it out, and this one goes back to the cloth bag. The spent nature token is put back into the supply. There is no limit to the number of nature tokens you may spend on your turn. If you do not have any remaining nature tokens, you must take an existing combination. Once you have selected your habitat tile and your wildlife token, you will place them into your environment in any order. So I can place this like this, and then I can place this right there. The habitat must be placed onto your environment according to the following placement rules. The habitat tile must be placed adjacent to any habitat tile already in your environment. This is the habitat tile, that is, the habitat tile must touch at least one side of another previously placed tile, or the starter habitat tile, which I do. And then B, the habitat tile may not be placed on top of another habitat tile, nor move another habitat tile. A little note, matching terrain is not a placement rule, but may gain you points during endgame scoring. The wildlife token may be placed onto a single habitat tile as long as you follow these rules. So first of all, the habitat tile must not already have a wildlife token on it. This means that you will only ever have at most 1 wildlife token per habitat tile. The habitat tile must show the matching wildlife tile and display 1 to 3 options for them. So this starting token I got has the bear symbol. I have the bear token, so therefore I can place that. However, now that I have placed that there, I cannot place either the elk or the salmon on that tile. I have to place it in a different location. If you cannot legally place the wildlife token because no open habitat tile can support that wildlife, or if you choose not to place the wildlife token, return the token to the cloth bag. You may place the wildlife token onto the habitat tile you just selected on your current turn, or you may place it on another available habitat tile. Like I did, I placed it on my starter tile, not the tile I just selected. If you place your wildlife token onto a keystone tile, so that's only with one terrain, you get to take a nature token. So keystone tokens tiles are anything that have like that little white symbol down there at the bottom, and I'll try to find a bigger picture of that and put it up there in the video so you guys can check that out, see what it looks like. That means that if you place a token, say for example I got this salmon token when I did a draw and I placed it here, I get to take a nature token because my starter tile had a keystone on it. After you have placed the tile and token you selected, replace each one, so like that, in the center of the play area. The habitat tile is replaced from the top of any of the face down stacks, and the wildlife token is replaced by randomly selecting one from the cloth bag. Little note, when replacing tiles and tokens in the play area, do not move the existing tiles and tokens. Simply refill the empty slots. Your turn is now complete. Play passes clockwise to the next player. On your turn, before you select a token, you may spend a nature token to do one of the following. You can take one of the 4 habitat tiles, any one of the 4 habitat tiles, and any one of the wildlife tokens, or you can wipe any number of them from and replace them. There's no limit to the number of nature tokens you may spend on your turn. At the end of the game, any nature token you still have is worth 1 point. If at the end of any player's turn there are no face-down habitat tiles left, like that, in the stacks to replace one of the tokens, the game ends immediately, and scores are tallied. Note, each player will play exactly 20 turns. Record scores on the score pad, on this score pad, for the following. Wildlife scoring cards. For each player, score each wildlife based on the wildlife scoring card used in the game. So, if you have any foxes with this kind of pattern, you get a certain number of points that is indicated down at the bottom of this card. If you have a long run of salmon, you get the points that are indicated down at the bottom of this card. If you have no other hawks around one hawk, and you do this multiple times, you can get up to 26 points. If you do the elk in one of these patterns, you could get up to 13 points if you had 4 in a row. And if you had 2 bears paired together and no other bears, depending on how many you had in your habitat, you could have up to 27 points. And again, I'll try to put up some larger prints so you guys can get a better view of that. And then we got number 2, which is our habitat tile corridors. For each player, score 1 point per habitat tile in their longest continuous habitat corridor in each of the 5 types. You got the mountain, which is this, like this bottom half. You have the forest, which is the top half. You have the prairies, right here. The wetlands, which is the bottom, and the rivers, which is the top of this token. Tiles are included in a continuous habitat corridor if they share at least one matching edge of the 6 edges of the tile. Record these points in the top left section of the corresponding box of your score pad, which would actually be down here, for that habitat and player in question. And then finally, the majorities. According to player count, score bonus points for having the largest continuous habitat corridor for each of the 5 habitat types. Use the numbers recorded on the score pad from step 2 to determine who gains the bonus points. Record the bonus points in the bottom right corner of the corresponding box for habitat type and player in question. There are some other variations of how to score this based on if you're playing by yourself, 2 players, or 3 to 4 players. For the 2-player, we will demonstrate that in our 2-player gameplay video, so be on the lookout for that. As far as the solo and 3 to 4 player, I'll let you discover that for yourself. For each player, score 1 point per unused nature token. And this one you can put on your score pad down here with the little pine cone. It'll match the nature token that you have. And then finally you tally all the points, and the player with the most points wins. In case of the tie, the player with the most nature tokens wins. If you're still tied, then you all share the victory. And that's all you need to know to play Cascadia. If you have any questions about this game, please put them in the comments below and I'll get them to as soon as I possibly can. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell to be notified for videos just like this. And if you're feeling in a charitable mood, consider donating to the Asperger Shop, or as it's called now, the Center for Neuro Performance and Counseling. This is one that's kind of close to me and Jordan, as it focuses on people who are on the spectrum. They are a center for neuroperformance and counseling and neurotherapy clinic. They're located in Flower Mound, Texas. They are a non-profit organization dedicated to providing traditional therapy and biofeedback at an affordable rate to the community. Bio and neurofeedback is a non-invasive, non-medicated alternative therapy to many psychological and behavioral disorders like ADD and ADHD. They have, this is a really great charity, as Jordan and I kind of fall in that mental. These are for kids who mostly, it's an alternative to just saying, take a pill and shut up. That's usually sometimes, unfortunately, that. This will help them to focus without having that need. Now, if you are not a fan of something like that, I can understand that. But Jordan and I really, we like something like that, as we can relate to that. We do have Asperger's, and that is one of the things that they cover. So check them out. I'll leave a link to them in the description below. You can donate to them. You can you cannot volunteer because I believe it's a special medical thing. You need special medical training. But the most important thing you can do is spread the word. We really do. We do think they're doing a lot of good in that, and it's nice to know that there is an alternative out there other than a medicative variation. So feel free to check them out, and thank you for your support. In other news though, if you be on the lookout for our upcoming gameplay video on Cascadia. But until then, thanks for the views.